after my divorce from my husband, I moved back to my hometown to raise my child. But out of the blue, I received a message from Christine after 3 years of no contact. She said she'd come back to town and given birth. Guess what? I had a baby too. I'm expecting a gift from you. Are you still a single mom, Renee? That's too bad. I'm living a happy life with Michael, just so you know. It seems like Christine just wanted to boast about her happy life to me. The thing is, this wasn't the first time Christine took something precious away from me. Perhaps she sees me as an easy target. However, now I have someone strong by my side. At the moment Christine would face her reckoning was getting closer by the second. People always say your name doesn't match you. My name is Renee, because of my plain appearance and reserved personality. I've always been teased that my name is too fancy for me. But on the other hand, Christine was the friend everyone boasted about. She was beautiful, adept at everything, and had many acquaintances. And though we were total opposites, she was friendly to me. We first met in the drama club during high school. While Christine was always the lead type, I was more suited for behind-the-scenes work and was responsible for the sound system. However, a turning point came for me. I fell in love with a senior member of the drama club, Dex the Crabbies Forasy. Time passed, and the senior didn't seem to notice my feelings. I was getting anxious. X as his graduation was approaching, and soon there'd be no more connection between us. So, I mustered up the courage to write him a letter. I've always liked you. Please, will you go out with me? That's all I could muster in this brief note. I made sure to sign it with Renee at the bottom. Christine knew I wrote the letter and offered to give it to the senior for me. But in reality, she crossed out my name and replaced it with hers before giving it to him. Apparently, she even told him I wrote the letter as a joke. She's just toying with your feelings. Don't you think that's cruel of Renee, is what she reportedly told him. That was a blatant lie. She had fabricated this story just to ruin my one-sided love. The senior, not knowing the truth, confronted me, saying only I didn't expect this from you, and just like that, my romantic hopes were crushed. Christine and the senior dated for a brief period, but soon she dumped him without a second thought. That's when I realized that Christine had been using me as her sidekick. After high school, I went to a vocational school in New York. Christine, it seemed, went to a renowned community college nearby. After my graduation, I got a job in the music industry. There, I met Michael, who would become my husband. He was a rising star musician, even making appearances on TV from time to time. People thought we were an odd match, but Michael said he was drawn to my simple and genuine nature. We decided to have a wedding. Michael, being the flamboyant type, rented out a luxury hotel in the city, and we had a grand celebration with many guests. Though I'm not one for big events, I braced myself, thinking it's a once-in-a-lifetime occasion. Choosing the guest list for the wedding was tough. I didn't really want to invite Christine after what happened in high school. But since we had many mutual friends, it seemed odd to invite all of them and exclude Christine, so I reluctantly sent her an invite. On the wedding day, Christine made an entrance in a dress so red it could have outshone the bride. She seemed smitten by Michael's musical performance during the entertainment section, making a point to approach him and even cozying up to Michael's friends, apparently trying to get his contact details. Back then, I simply thought it was nice for Michael to gain another fan, but I was wrong. Soon after we started our married life, Michael began acting differently than when we dated. He constantly pushed his extravagant tastes onto me. It was evident when we went shopping downtown. Michael stopped at a high-end brand store. "Hey, try this on," he said. "What? I think even a foreign supermodel would have trouble pulling this off." I thought, playful tease, I reluctantly tried it on. But as far as I could tell from the dressing room mirror, it didn't suit me at all. Just as I thought, it doesn't fit someone plain like me, I said. I felt as if I was being compared to someone else, and it didn't feel good. Eventually, I became pregnant. I hoped that having a baby would make Michael more supportive, but he showed no such inclination. He seemed busier than ever, not just with work, but also filling his schedule with private engagements and outings. In the end, he never once accompanied me to the hospital, even up to the day of delivery. The time came, and I gave birth safely. Our daughter was beautiful, but after childbirth, I was physically and mentally exhausted. Suddenly, there was a loud knock on the hospital room door. I thought it was Michael, but when I let them in, he had brought several of his friends. Michael barely paid any attention to our daughter and seemed more interested in taking photos, uploading them to his social media right there and then. Actually, when I was discharged and returned home, I found the house in utter chaos. And to make matters worse, the crib that I had asked Michael to order was nowhere to be found. "I haven't gotten around to it. Ordering stuff is such a hassle," he said. "Then where is our baby going to sleep?" I asked. It seemed impossible to even place a crib in the messy room, so in a rush I tied up and prepared my own futon to let our daughter Luna rest. Even after we began our life as a family of 3, Michael's outings didn't lessen. While his job had no fixed hours, and he often returned home late, his overnight stays increased to a concerning extent. Then I heard words I couldn't believe. "Oh, us to split. What about Luna?" I asked. "Conscience, I never wanted a child in the first place." Michael replied, "If that's the case, you shouldn't have. You're the one who got pregnant. It's your fault for complicating things." His words were incredibly hurtful. Initially, I was against the idea of divorce, but considering Michael's lack of involvement in household duties and the fact that Luna wasn't attached to him, I decided to return to my parents' homes in Nebraska and raise Luna there. Life in the peaceful town was better than I expected. My parents thoroughly enjoyed living with their granddaughter, and for the first time, I truly felt the joy of having given birth. It wasn't until sometime after moving back to Nebraska that I learned the real reason for the divorce. I stumbled upon an article Michael posted on social media. But with the caption, "We're married," there was a photo of Michael and Christine. I felt dizzy. Once again, Christine had taken away someone precious to me. Just to add insult to injury, Christine was wearing the expensive brand dress that I couldn't pull off. As I sat there in shock, my phone rang. It was Christine.
Hey, long time no see. Saw my post. Heard you moved back to Nebraska. What a shame.
Michael and I are enjoying city life. What's the deal with you marrying Michael? Ever since your wedding, we just clicked.
Michael's been thinking of me all this time, especially after you got pregnant.
So he was cheating on me?
Don't be so stiff. It's your fault for not keeping a tighter hold on your man.
Christine said. True, I had been preoccupied with my pregnancy. But now, I have a beautiful daughter, and I've recovered my health living with my parents. None of your business, I replied. But now I have my irreplaceable and lovely daughter, and I'm gonna be happy. I said, sounds like a loser's excuse. It's kinda sad, Christine said. I was so angry I hung up. 3 years passed. A turning point came for me. Luna was now at an age where she could sit quietly, so I took her to see a children's play. After the performance, to my surprise, the director who came out to greet the audience was the same senior from high school. The one Christine had taken from me. After the event concluded, I mustered up the courage to approach him. Excuse me, you're Matthew from high school, right? I asked. And you are? Matthew replied, I'm Renee. I said, we were in the drama club together. Actually, there was a misunderstanding back then that I'd like to clear up. Would you like to join me for coffee later to discuss it? Having this large group with me gave me confidence, since I wasn't looking forward to facing the couple alone. Christine's house was located in a modest part of our hometown, a place I knew she wasn't particularly fond of. But she must be happy to see him after so long. Ignoring her sarcastic remark, I walked into the room. The relatives curiously observed Christine, wondering what kind of woman Michael had ended up with. Christine didn't seem to enjoy the attentions. We were guided to the living room table and served tea. The tea was lukewarm, smelled odd, and tasted terrible. Luna took a sip and grimaced, but quickly returned to her polite demeanor. It was moments like this that made me proud of her. It must be tough being a single mom. I hope you find a good husband soon, but you know someone more on your level. My parents tried to intervene, but I stopped them. And it's the same old story, I said, speaking loudly enough for those around us to hear. Here's the gift. I had chosen a DVD set of a popular children's educational show. All parents raising kids in the U.S. would recognize this educational show. It serve as background noise and entertain the baby once they're a bit older.
Thank you for the expensive gift, Christine said, implying it must have been a stretch given their financial situation.
Perhaps it was her sharp tone, but the baby began to wail loudly. Quickly, Christine played the DVD. A cute theme song began, followed by costumed characters greeting the audience. The main female character was so adorable. Soon after, smaller child characters appeared.
Is that Luna modeling in this show?
Yes.
I'm Luna, she said proudly. I'm 3 years old.
Beaming with pride, boasted about their talented granddaughter.
Sire begins showering Luna with compliments.
Luna's in a children's theater group. She's one of the top members and is pretty busy with TV gigs too.
I enjoy it, she said, smiling.
We're so proud of how well she's grown up. Upset on the TV, Luna was seen folding laundry and being praised by a mascot. Behind Luna, a plethora of children's toys could be seen, and glimpses of a shining kitchen sink were also visible. That's some detailed set, I thought. A TV studio? You should be living in a house this beautiful instead of acting in one, I remarked. Actually, the filming location was our very own home. Our family's rented house may be old-fashioned, but thanks to our cleanliness-loving parents, it's been thoroughly renovated and looks brand new inside. What? Christine asked, surprised. This place is not livable. We were told by our parents that they had renovated it. But with funds from our parents, we renovated the interior and added accessibility features, making it quite safe. It's actually a decent house then. Christine's baby kept crying loudly. She made a clicking sound with her tongue, stood up after stumbling over an empty snack wrapper, and reluctantly started to soothe her baby. Being a child actor is not an easy task. Luna seems to have a real talent for it. As a single mother, you're doing pretty well, but making your child work for a living sounds tough. That's a harsh way to put it. I think you owe an apology to everyone who does this kind of work. Just as I was about to reveal a secret, the doorbell rang. Christine, puzzled, went to answer the door. Seeing a familiar figure, I followed her, and it was Matthew. Seeing him, Christine seemed to lose her voice. She stood there for a moment, then whispered, "Matthew." I stood next to him, a bit embarrassed, and intertwined our arms. "This is my husband, Matthew." "It's been a while, Christine," he greeted her. "Renee invited me, so I thought I'd drop by." Christine looked uncomfortable, but she couldn't leave him at the entrance, so she reluctantly led him to the living room. "Christine, I've heard everything from Renee. You really did a number back then."
He scolded her. Well, I thought of Renee as a means to boost my own image. Not only that, but I couldn't stand the thought of her being happy. For you're quite narrow-minded. He added,
At that time, it was just a playful thought. Toying with people's emotions on a whim is the lowest. I said, "I can't trust you as a person." Matthew concluded, "No, actually, I admired you back then." Christine confessed, "You think a last-minute excuse will work now?" "Must have been easy to fool." Matthew replied, "But now we're living happily as if nothing happened." Just then, Michael walked into the room. Seeing him after such a long time, he had gained a considerable amount of weight and looked quite mismatched with Christine. Our parents, sensing the tension, discreetly took Luna away to play. Persons to the relatives, recognizing Michael, straightened up, wondering if this was the famous musician they'd heard of. Some even brought CDs hoping for an autograph. Matthew began to explain to Michael about Christine's past actions during their college days. Michael's face turned ashen. "So stealing Renee's man wasn't your first time?" I asked. "I was a victim too," Michael said. "But you're in for a tough time," I warned him. The room buzzed with whispers. Michael took a seat, and the conversation continued. Michael took a gulp, seemingly parched, and took a sip of tea from Christine's cup. But immediately he frowned and slammed the cup on the table. "Begin with this awful tea," he said. "You can't even make proper tea. I'm your husband, and this is embarrassing." We all silently nodded in agreement. "But I only drink soda usually. I'd like some appreciation for even making tea. always with that attitude. Acting high and mighty every time you do a tiny bit of housework. The couple's quarrel went on for a bit before Michael finally calmed down and took a seat. I should have introduced myself earlier. I'm contracted with a production company as a musician. Matthew pointed to a DVD with a director's name on it. Christine was taken aback when she saw the name. I'm currently directing children's plays, Matthew said, still sticking to my original passion. It's not fair. Why does Renee always get the good guys? Michael has gained so much weight and isn't as wealthy as when we met. There's nothing good about him now. You thought of me like that? Christine asked. Yes, even after giving birth to our child, you never helped. You wanted the kid. I thought you'd earn more once we had a child. Isn't it bad for the baby's upbringing? Christine was taken aback for a moment, but retorted, "But you're just a behind-the-scenes guy." Compared to my Michael, there's a world of difference. Matthew smiled and started operating his smartphone. Seeing Matthew, usually not one to use his phone in public, our parents and I stared in curiosity. Christine, have you seen the news? Daku asked. That's trending right now? Matthew showed his smartphone screen. The news headline read, Famous musician in debt due to wife's spending. With a shocking headline, there was an article revealing that Michael's wife, Christine, was drowning in debt behind her glamorous lifestyle. Apparently, she had been continuously borrowing money from Michael's business acquaintances. Michael had completely lost his credibility, and his contract with the production company was expected to end within the year. This news left me and everyone else present utterly stunned. What's the meaning of this? I asked. That's just fake news? You can't believe it, Christine said. This was news to me too, so I intently stared at Matthew's smartphone screen. Isn't this true? Your social media is always bragging about Heldzures. Where's that money coming from? I haven't been giving Christine that much allowance. Just then, my mom tried to stand up, reaching for the closet's knob. However, the closet wasn't properly closed, and she stumbled back. What startled us wasn't about my mom. We were speechless seeing the huge amount of luxury brand items spilling out from the closet. Everyone has these. It's pretty standard. But these items cost thousands of dollars each. You don't even work. There's no way you could afford them with just an allowance.
When I was married to Renee, things were better. Renee was good with money, never complained, and made our life comfortable.
Christine is gorgeous, but she barely does housework and constantly orders food and hires help. I knew it was a drain on our finances.
I told you multiple times.
But every time, you'd pretend not to hear and go out. And now you've gone and embarrassed me to the point of making the news, tarnishing my career.
Christine pouted dramatically.
Indeed, a few relatives even giggled under their breaths. I want a divorce. Renee, how about giving us another shot? You must be joking. I've got the best partner in Matthew. We were married once. I think we could make it work now. Please don't be naive. There's no way I'm getting back with someone who cheated on me during my pregnancy. But Luna is still my child. I think we could become a real family. The be ever patient Luna finally spoke up. Who's this man? I like my current dad. Luna feels the same. You too bad for you. Our parents were also nodding with big smiles. I can't believe it. Why does Renee end up being happier in the end? Maybe it's a matter of effort. The only thing you've bragged about is your husband. You don't have anything of your own. That's right, it's 'cause you always relied on me. After today, I'm never seeing you again. We'll settle our divorce through lawyers. I'll also have you repay every cent you've taken. That's impossible. We have a baby. No ifs, ands, or buts. Thusly, the couple's exchange escalated into a heated argument, so we left their house, leaving behind a DVD with Luna on it. This occasion, after closing the front door, Christine's cries and Michael's shouts could still be heard. Protectresses. The relatives who had come along commented on how terrible the private lives of celebrities could be and then dispersed. Even after visiting their home, Christine's calls never stop. "Kay Renee, we're best friends, right? Can you lend me some money? After all this, you have the audacity to ask? I don't have a penny for you. Please don't say that. Michael's demanding alimony, and all the people I've borrowed money from are pressuring me. You're the only one I can turn to. It wasn't a far-fetched story. I told our mutual friends everything that happened at Christine's home. Everyone was shocked and decided to cut ties with her. After the news broke, Christine's social media went viral, ironically achieving its highest ever views. As the saying goes, there's no stopping the rumor mill. It seemed that the relatives who witnessed Christine's lifestyle firsthand also played a part in spreading the gossip. Being a single mother is tough. I'm juggling multiple part-time jobs just to get by. I'm living at my parents' house out of their pity, and I feel so ashamed. Isn't that your own doing? And all the consequences of your past actions are catching up with you now. Oh, don't be so cold. What about the way you treated me? Wasn't that terrible? I regret it. Please forgive me. I have no obligation to forgive you. Stop contacting me. Ignoring Christine's tearful pleas, I ended the call and promptly blocked her number. I should have done this from the start. Despite feeling disgusted with my own gullibility, I felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. On the other hand, our family was living happily every day. Luna was handling child actress roles at her own pace and even expressed her desire to become an actress in the future. I'm always amazed by her brightness and intelligence. Matthew is very cooperative with household chores and childcare and values his family time despite his busy work schedule. So as with the support of my parents, I am enjoying the journey of raising our child. We dream of creating a play together as a family of 3 someday, and we plan to continue being a close-knit family.